Hmm. Hello. Um, I am currently experiencing a very solid degree of flow state, and I've had the inspiration throughout the entire day to basically share an updated and hopefully very fluid, relatable version of what I do from typically, ideally, the moment I wake up, uh, and then into the day and throughout the day as much as possible. My goal is to achieve flow state as soon as I can, and so yeah, basically just describe it as that. My intention for this video is to share with you on, in a very practical manner what I've been doing lately to align first thing in the morning, reach flow, and then carry it into my day with some pretty delightful success. Okay, so waking up, you know that moment when you first gain that consciousness, that perspective of consciousness. I'm waking up into my body, and a little precursor to this, I can only speak from my experience, and so I'm not going to make disclaimers throughout the video of like what you will experience or may not. This is just to be as direct and concise as possible. So I wake up, I feel into the body, it feels a little bit groggy, a little stiff, a little like it needs a little movement. Almost simultaneously, thoughts begin to trickle in. I've really, I feel like gotten a lot better at holding awareness as to this experience of when do the thoughts actually begin, and when do they begin to take over my focus. So this is probably relatable to a lot of people, but if you pay attention when you wake up, first I feel my body, and then within the first second or 2 seconds, some sort of thought comes in of like, oh, I'm at home in bed or wherever I may be. You kind of realize your bearings, where you are, how long you slept, all these little details about your three-dimensional reality start to fill in. And I feel like they trickle in, right? So this is kind of key because I typically do my best to catch the thoughts when they're still in the trickle aspect. Meaning that if I just wake up to, like, say, had to get up right away and do a task, whether, go to, get ready for work or go to the bathroom or something like this. And if I don't have the awareness to pay attention, then the thoughts go very quickly from a trickle to an open faucet, like they're just kind of like flooding in. And a real interesting nuance to this part is when the thoughts begin to come in with that level of intensity, the body tends to really begin to tighten up. Well, now, depending on if I'm thinking about if I had a nice dream and it feels relaxing and loving, right? Then that's typically, if I remember as soon as I wake up, that will be the dominant sensation in the body still. And if that happens, I'll just say it right now, that's like winning the lottery, the vibrational lottery, right? Like the if your body feels good when you wake up and it's that good, my path then takes on a whole different form, which is to just feel whatever I'm feeling and juice it, right? Like allow myself to feel it as wholly and as fully as I can, and to bask in it, right? This would be like jumping to stage 3 of the intentional experience on a regular day. So if your body already feels good and you're able to have the focus and awareness to just stay in it, that is ideal. Again, when I wake up most days, I feel a little groggy, a little stiff, and I slowly realize my thoughts are beginning to trickle in, and I'm pretty good at this. This is where the work is, right? The hardest part is really catching the thoughts before they become a full-blown narrative. And even if they're a narrative and you have the awareness to not identify it as the story that it's telling, then you're good. I'm pretty practiced at this now, so I can usually, the whole idea is to catch your thoughts before they snowball into stress, okay? That's the main goal of like step 1. So let's say I wake up and I'm there, and I'm like, I start to think about what I have to do during the day, but I say, oh no, I'm just gonna lay here for 5 minutes and enjoy this beautiful feeling of just being cozy in bed, and give myself the grace and allow myself to, just feel good and see where it goes. And it does go places, and that's the whole point. So let's say we're there, but I still feel, the body is stiff and groggy, and some days it takes having, to get up, or maybe you can stretch in bed a little bit. But the key here is, if you're gonna stretch and move around, we're trying to maintain the stillness before we lose it, right? So again, ideally you wake up and you're so still in your body that like you're just already at peace, right? So if we're gonna move the body and stretch, when you start to move and say you feel some pain or stiffness or whatever, then usually the mind will go identify that as a threat or a problem or something it needs to fix, and it will, your focus will then get caught up in these aspects of yourself. But let's say we make it through that, we can stretch a little bit and just like, have a nice deep breath, right? A cleansing, what I call a reset breath. Now we're in a place where the body is a little bit more anchored into presence, which is really another main point. One of the primary goals, not only first thing in the morning, but throughout the day, is to be in presence, right? With whatever moment we are experiencing, because that can go into a lot of tangents and a lot of depth, but if you'll trust me on this, just know that from all of my years of experience with meditation and being in flow state and achieving flow and sustaining it, that's what anchors you there, is being present in any given moment, right? Not being distracted. All presence means for this in practical terms is being here, anchored into this moment with whatever senses you can, and not being in a narrative in the mind, a story of the past or the future. Even if it's 10 seconds in the past or 1 second in the future, that's not really presence, right? The real magic happens when you're, for example, if a practice of presence is, again, a reset breath, and then to allow myself to identify as my resting breath. So when we are drifting off to sleep, say you're really tired and you're just like, you keep catching yourself like falling asleep, and you'll notice that your breath is kind of like breathing your body for you at that point, right? So that's a very powerful tool. We can do this intentionally by inhaling for 3 to 4 seconds, holding the breath for just maybe another 3 to 4 seconds, and then allowing the exhale to be longer than the inhale. I usually try to go 5 to 7 seconds. So I'll do this now, for example. So. Okay. And if you notice on the exhale, it deepens it if we allow the body to almost exhale itself, like if you were a balloon, right, that just got blown up and now you're just letting the air out, but the balloon is going to do it at its own rate without needing much assistance from you. Okay, so the power in that analogy is, the idea is to surrender. This is where the idea of surrender comes in, where we're no longer, right, we're not trying to control the breath. We're noticing the breath, observing the breath, allowing the body to breathe us. If you get to the point where your body is breathing you, that's one of the symptoms of flow state in my experience. Okay. So once we have reached this point of relaxing into the body, relaxing into the natural breath, and allowing ourselves to enjoy it a little bit, right? The relaxation is really key. That's part of the work too. Knowing how to relax is a bit of a skill for most of us who, if we haven't practiced in a while, right? It's like, what does it actually feel like to relax, to surrender, to feel safe in your body, to trust that, nothing's going to fall apart while you do this for a little bit. Think of the last time you were really just like, feels so good to relax, and try to get there, again. I will insert this here. One of the most powerful practices to stabilize in this is to practice summoning emotions, as I just described, with relaxation being one of the key ones, right? What does it feel like to feel relaxed? What does it feel like to feel safe? What does it feel like to feel love comes later? It's kind of like the end game, right? You're trying to, you're not trying, you're allowing yourself to embody these emotions that we've all felt, we all know them, but a very anchoring key, being able to eventually become a master at embodying, summoning, feeling, and embodying, becoming different emotional states. Okay. So now we woke up, we allowed ourselves to sink into that good feeling in our body, in our chest, wherever feels good, and then that amplifies, typically takes over, relaxes you deeper, and so on and so forth. You end up gaining momentum automatically with this once you've hit a certain point. And again, the only thing for me at this stage, it's so beautiful in its simplicity. Once I get to that stage of like relative relaxation and well-being, it keeps going by itself until I think my way out of it. And that's just, really, I guess if I had to keep it completely simple, that's the main trap. Any narrative, right? It's like all of a sudden you feel an itch on your body somewhere, and that is the first domino in the series. You're like, oh, I itch, and like, oh shoot, what time is it? And like, oh man, I should be getting up making breakfast. And like, if we have the awareness to catch that in its infancy, while it's still trickling, then we can very easily refocus back into the bodily sensations and the whatever flow we've managed to create for ourselves. All right. Now, carrying it into the day, once you're at this point successfully, that's your main practice. Now, I want to share playing the game of flow. Once you're good at doing this in bed or sitting, meditating in whatever position is comfortable for you, then it's a whole new next level challenge, or at least it has been in my experience, to be able to maintain that embodiment and just get up and start your day. Okay, so let's say now you're like, okay, it's been 5 minutes, I do have to go do something, I need to use the bathroom, so I'm going to go to the bathroom. So I started to make a game of it where I said, okay, my whole goal is to stay in my body in this feeling until I reach the bathroom. And as soon as I hit the doorknob, or like open the door a little bit, that's like my finish line, and I've won this little game. And so I started getting better. At first, as soon as you get up and like move the body and put your feet on the ground, all the sensory stimuli comes in, and pretty quickly we're in the head, right? We're in the narrative, and so really, again, it's just that simple. Eventually, I've gotten good enough to I'm like in my body completely, with my awareness, with my focus, but I'm also hyper aware of when the trickle starts to get louder. The thoughts are always going to be there in some shape or form, but they're kind of like a faucet dripping in the background, right? When I'm good at this, I'm able to just keep them in the background and not allow the drip to become a full-on stream and capture my attention. So, you're walking to the bathroom, you realize, I was supposed to sweep my floor yesterday. I'm gonna get to the bathroom, it's gonna be dirty or something, or like I didn't put the toothpaste away properly. So the whole myriad of potential intellectual narratives. All right, so enough of that. If I made it to the bathroom and I'm still in my body in flow, that's a really good indication, because now I'm immersed in it enough to where the momentum is sustaining me with enough consistency that I can count on pretty much definitely being able to jump in the shower, because usually the shower, if you allow the water to get to a nice temperature before you get in, and you're not, it's relaxing, right? So you get in the shower, you're like, this is deepening my experience. And this is good to have awareness of the things that make you relax more automatically. And so once I'm in the shower and I'm relaxed even deeper, now I'm just like melting, and I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna be a great day. I'm already having a great day. All I have to do is stay here. And this is what makes a great day, for me at least. If I can be in flow state throughout even a quarter of the day, it's a really good day. So now I'm out of the shower, drying off. I'm gonna have a little breakfast. I will talk very briefly about diet here, because I want to say, this is a disclaimer, every body is different for sure. So my experience is all I can speak to, and everybody thrives on different diets and different consumption in general, right? But for me, I don't typically get hungry until, if I'm in this sort of alignment and I'm in flow, I actually am not really hungry. I'm kind of like feeding off of some other energy source. Let's just leave it at that. And when that happens, what I'm trying to say is, if our routine is to have a big breakfast in the morning, or think, oh, I need all this in my body so I can not run out of steam, that to me was, for me personally, was a kind of a trap. To think, oh, you gotta, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and for some it is, for some it isn't. So listen to your body, know what your own body is asking you for. For me, I just drink water as soon as I get up. I hydrate to get the movement flowing within the system. And let's say if I were a little hungry, I would go to fruits first. So I usually have bananas, strawberries, blueberries, eat a handful of something. You'll feel, when you're this sensitive, when you eat food, especially fruit that is very flavorful, it pops like never before. Like it's literally what they say, you can get lost in just a bite of a strawberry, and you can actually feel the flavors. I'll just leave it at that, right? But anyway, usually the cleaner I eat and the lighter I eat, the more the subtle energies that I'm speaking of, the emotional awareness, the ability to find good feelings in the body, it's all amplified. All right. What more? So let's say you have a little bit of breakfast, even a little bit of granola or something. If you're just, you don't want to like challenge yourself too much and just day one be like, oh, I'm just gonna do this flow state thing and not have anything in my stomach. But your body is like yelling at you because it's so used to having more of a breakfast. And so find a balance, is what I do. And it's different every day, every week, right? We're always in different phases of the human experience. So, yeah, have a little food, and then, what's the next goalpost of my little game, my alignment game that I can play, which would be, now that I've finished in the kitchen, I'm gonna go get dressed. So I'm gonna think, oh, try to have fun with life. Try to be joyful, right? And this, I know that's like, I'm kind of giggling about it right now because I can feel it easily, but trust me, I have some very, very dense days, and I'm like, joy, laughter, yeah, right, like, who's gonna make me laugh, But if you can muster it, if you're feeling good, then it can be very powerfully deepened and explored through joyful experiences. So, I I use the one, watch puppies on YouTube. Try to keep it, for me, I was gonna say like, listen to a joke or something, but then that would require observing another human. And for me, that is a trigger that can take us out of it, because when we deal with other humans, especially when we're not very practiced and good at sustaining flow, the judgments will take us out of it, right? So I'll just insert this here. Practice of non-judgment and non-attachment are the two pillars that I found to be almost a prerequisite to being able to actually remain in flow state for any length of time. Because as soon as we judge anything, we go into the mind, the intellectual mind narrative. Whether, again, if I were to put on a comedian and notice, oh, he's wearing that, like, that's a weird, it's nothing that bad or anything. It's just anything is going to suck us back into the narrative. And that's just the main distinction that I'm trying to create here is we're trying to stay in the body and feeling, and just pure feeling, right? If possible. And there will be thoughts, and it's okay to bounce back and forth a little bit, or as much as you want. This is all just a fun, explorative game. At the end of the day, if I find I can go the deepest when I allow it to be a fun game, and I think that's what I'm trying to share with you here. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Well, this is a journal for myself, but if anybody else finds value in this, that to me is like very, very deeply meaningful. And I'll just leave it at that. I love you.